Hi, and welcome to this setup video for TradeBox 1. What we'll be covering today is downloading and installing TradeBox and connecting it to Xero accounts for the Xero beta test. So to get started, the first thing you'll need to do is to download and install TradeBox. TradeBox is a desktop application designed for Windows PCs, and you can get a copy by going to our website, which is tradebox.uk.com, and clicking on free trial up at the top here. So for the Xero beta test period, we're offering you a free version of TradeBox to connect to Xero. We'll check in with you periodically throughout that time to see how it's going and talk through any issues you may have found with the connection. All of our support is free in using TradeBox, and that continues even beyond that period. And then once the Xero beta test is completed, if you want to keep going with TradeBox, you're welcome to take a paid license, and you'll be able to see the tiers and what we charge for those licenses if you click on pricing up at the top here. So I just need some contact details so we know who you are and we can keep in touch. I'm just going to fill mine in here. The email address will send you through the Getting Started guides, and we'll also be sending through a unique identifier that you do need to connect to Xero. And as I've said, all of our support's free. You can get us anytime at this email, which is sales@tradebox.uk.com, or on this phone number, which is 0191 257 4707. So just submit your details here, and you'll be sent through to this page. Click where it says click here, and you'll be taken through to the setup page here. So we've got some system requirements for the PC that you'll need to install on, and when you're ready, just click on this link here to download the TradeBox 1 installer and just save that somewhere on your PC. Once the installer is downloaded, you just need to double click on it and run it, and choose unzip there. These are just temp install files that it's unzipping. And it's a very quick install, it should only take a minute or so. Just click next through there, accept the license agreement, choose your install location, which we'd recommend just doing the default into program files on your computer C drive, and hit install. So once the install shield's finished, you can choose to launch the program directly from there. During the install wizard, it will do some check for some Microsoft files, so if you get an extra install wizard or two on there, just follow the on-screen instructions, and when you're ready, launch the program. If you're coming back to this later on, you can find us in the Start menu in a folder called TradeBox. And once that's done, you're fine to just close the unzip program there. So here we are at the login screen to get into TradeBox. Your user logon is always going to be TB user, and if further down the line you end up networking TradeBox and installing on multiple machines, everyone will log in as TB user as well. There's no password on it by default, but you can put one on later on if you so choose. So one thing I'm going to do is just pin this to my taskbar here so I can find it more easily. And here we are in the setup wizard. You're installing for the first time, and just leave the serial number as TB trial for the time being. We just need some contact details, so these will be used on any documentation that you produce from within TradeBox. The program is capable of running reports and invoices and that sort of thing. I'm just going to pause the video while I pop mine in here. So there we are, that's all filled in. Not all of these fields are mandatory. Please do give us a company name. You will need an email address, and if you're VAT registered, you'll need to input your VAT number as well to enable TradeBox's VAT options. So click next. So we're just going to set some defaults here. Obviously we're connecting to Xero accounts, so I'm just going to choose Xero from the drop-down. The tax rate, just choose whatever would describe a normal average UK sale for you. There's a bunch of different preferences and settings to control VAT based on what's being sold and where in the world it's being shipped. So just go with the one that describes the bulk of your business for UK. For most people that'll be standard rated, which is 20%. If you're not VAT registered at all and you're not going to be in the very near future, then you'd be best to choose non-VATable. And lastly, the stock control option. So if you choose TradeBox, TradeBox will build a list of products and you'll use that as your master inventory. If you want to, you can feed that back up to the online marketplaces that you sell on so that you don't end up overselling, especially useful if you're selling the same item in multiple different places. If you choose account software, then that'll tell us you want to use Xero as your master hub for inventory, and again we can take free stock quantities from there and write that back to the marketplaces. For the beta, that's not available at the moment. That's covered in some of the documentation, but once the full Xero integration is launched, that will be available. Or if you choose none, you're basically telling us you don't want any stock control at all and will handle everything as a service line. So I'm going to choose trade box and just next through there. And lastly, we've just got some information to confirm that you've read and understood. The first section is about the TradeBox data service, which is a secondary application, and that just sits and runs in your Windows system tray, and it's what allows TradeBox to be an always-on sort of connection. So as long as the data service is running, TradeBox can be constantly doing tasks like checking your marketplaces for new orders. And we've just got our GDPR consent here. So if you opt in, you might get the occasional marketing email from us. There might be some special offers in there, or just news and information about generally selling online and the marketplace that we're all part of. And if you say no to that, we won't send you any marketing emails at all. You will still get some operational contact from us, such as when your license is due to expire, or if we encounter any issues on the online marketplaces that we integrate with, we may occasionally get in touch about that stuff as well. So once you're done, just click Finish. And TradeBox is going to pop a couple of messages here. The first one is about the data service, which is that secondary application I was talking about. It's just asking your permission, do you want it to run on this machine? Practically everyone's going to say yes to this. If you're running TradeBox across a network, what you'll do is designate one machine to run the data service on. If you are planning on doing that, give us a shout. We can talk specifics about your network because everyone's different. But to get up and running with the trial, would recommend for now just say yes to it. And then a message, TradeBox wants to let you know what to do next, which is to go and set up your sales channels, which are the connections for your online marketplaces or your web store. So the next thing to do is to set up those sales channels. We've got guides and videos up on our website for the various types of web store and marketplace that we integrate with. So go and follow through the ones that are specific to you. And then once your channels are in place, we'll pick this back up in part 2 of this video, which will cover connecting those channels to your Xero accounts.